Hi, it's Dr. Aaron with Move Chiropractic. In a recent Facebook Live video, I talked a little bit about how chiropractic care isn't just for neck pain and back pain, but in fact can be used full body. And today I want to talk just a little bit about what an assessment looks like. So when somebody first comes into the office, I perform a number of different things, including a typical orthopedic and neurologic exam. Test people for basically make sure they're in the right place. That's where we have to start. We have to make sure they're in the right office. If they need some kind of care from an orthopedic surgeon or something of that nature, I try to do the best I can to recognize that as soon as possible and make the appropriate referral. But then what it involves beyond that are things like range of motion testing, strength testing, and then on top of that, how the person moves, essentially. Looking at things like how they squat, how they bend, how they balance, those types of things. Things that we do really throughout our day, what we call functional activities. And basically seeing if there are any deficits or difficulties with those kind of standard basic human movements that might be potentially factoring into the person's condition. Another thing that this kind of an evaluation another advantage that it has is sometimes it will help to point out something that in a different area of the body, for example, that is placing stress on the area that just kind of keeps on flaring up with pain. So a real common and good example of this is that if somebody has a lower back problem, they might have some kind of an issue in the hip or mid-back. And if they have, say, for example, a tightness in the hip that prevents them from being able to bend forward efficiently, a lot of times the lower back will make up for that lack of hip range of motion. So we can work on the lower back, get the lower back feeling better, but if we don't also address the underlying hip range of motion problem, it's more likely to recur, especially if the person has a job or performs some kind of activity that involves repetitive bending. So another thing that we're looking at when I'm doing that initial evaluation is to determine whether somebody has more of what I would call a mobility problem versus a stability problem. So some people with low back pain do very, very well with adjusting, and it's something that brings them immediate and lasting relief. Some people don't. Some people actually can worsen after adjusting because they already have excessive flexibility in the lower back and essentially what we would call a functional instability in the lower back. So with that, basically we want to stabilize, we want to strengthen the lower back in order to get rid of the problem. So when I'm doing this evaluation, I'm trying to basically screen to determine which approach each person is going to respond best to. That's kind of a general rundown of my evaluation anyway. Oftentimes people, when they come into the office and I do that initial eval on them, they kind of make the comment that it's the most thorough evaluation that they've had. And I do pride myself on doing that. I try to do the best I can. And I do think that it's worth taking the time with that initial visit and initial evaluation to try to dig into things a little bit more, and especially in chronic or in complicated cases, to try to get to the underlying cause of it as best we can and do everything we can to get it under control. So if you have questions for me, please reach out and let me know. I hope you are doing well. I wish everybody the best, and we'll talk to you next time.